What's up, OCC gang? Guys, I know you see this huge smile on my face, and I want you to go ahead and put a really big smile on your face too. It's done. It is done. It is final. The stimulus package is here. Guys, your checks are on the way. It is about to go down. That is right. Today is Friday, but you might be watching this some other day. But guys, today, a few hours ago, President Trump just signed a $2 trillion economic relief bill, and it's known as the CARES Act. So we'll break all of that down later, but I think a good idea for this video would just be to answer your questions, because let's face it, everyone has questions and you guys just want answers. You don't want a lot of rambling. You have questions and you want answers, so I think the best thing we can do is just answer your questions. So we're going to do this video in a question and answer form, so get ready for question number 1. Okay, so let's talk about who's getting the money. This was the biggest question and the biggest debate before, when the Republican Party Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell proposed that first CARES Act proposal, the one that was turned down in the Senate. We all know that one. That didn't go too well. But with that first bill, there was a huge debate on who's getting the money. This bill, the one that was passed, is actually a lot better. A lot more people, tax-paying citizens will benefit from this bill, this new one that got passed. So let's talk about who gets the money and how much. First of all, tax-paying adults, individual adults, can expect up to $1,200, that's great. $1,200, that's a good amount of money to get you going again. So $1,200 is a good amount of money to get you going again, or at least to help you with some bills, or help you just kind of pass over a hump while you wait on some other type of relief. Now, $2,400 for people who file jointly, married couples. So you filing jointly, you can expect about $2,400. And then there's this $500 per child. Let's talk about this money when it comes to per child, because this is going to be the part that a lot of people are going to have a problem with or really need help understanding. You're into your taxes and you look at all of this stuff and you really pay attention, and you're not just like, let me file my taxes and get my money back. Like, if you're into it, then you know about that child tax credit, and you know that children under 17, they're good to go, but children over 17 or who were a certain age at the time of your filing your taxes, they are not eligible for a child tax credit. So therefore, they won't count as a child, and you won't get that $500 for them. It doesn't matter if they're still your baby and you're taking care of them, this, that, and the other. They live in your house, they're still in high school. I mean, it really doesn't matter. If they're not eligible for a child tax credit and they're too old, if they've aged out, then you can also expect that they won't get that $500, that you won't get that $500 for that child. So definitely you have to consider, if your child was turning 17 at the time of your filing your taxes last year, if they're 18 now, I mean, there's just some things that you have to look at, some variables there, and your child might not be eligible. So check that out. I'll link the information below if you really want to get into it and see, like, is my kid going to be eligible? I'll link some information below. You can go ahead and start checking out those links now if you want, just to kind of feel that out. But other than that, your kids are in there, $500 per child. Before we actually move on, let me mention this really quickly about college students. College students, you need to check to see if you're going to be eligible for your own check. It depends on if you yourself are classified as a dependent. Are you still a dependent in your parents' house? Do your parents file you on their taxes? Even if you're in college, are you still a dependent? These are things you need to know if you're going to be eligible for your own check. And I'll put all of the information down below, so college students, you can check that out to see, hey, have I filed my taxes on my own, or are my parents still putting me on theirs? Am I a dependent, or have I been filing separately? These are things you need to know, but don't worry, I've got you covered. I'll have all of that in the link below. Check it out, read it, and see what you need to do if you're a college student to make sure that you will be eligible to get a credit with this stimulus package. Now let's talk about who's going to get the check. A lot of people last time, before this bill was passed, one of the questions that you guys had was, if I'm on Social Security, will I be eligible for the check? With this new bill that has been passed, yes, most people who are on retirement or receive Social Security checks will be eligible for this stimulus check. And I'll have it linked below so you can go and check right now. They have a lot of calculators that are telling you, are you eligible? Do you meet the requirements? So it will be really easy to just go click on this and put in some information and see if you meet the requirements. But yes, retirees and those receiving Social Security, you're safe. Another question I got was from a lot of people who receive disability checks. Again, if you're paying taxes on those disability checks, then you're also in there. As long as you've been filing your taxes, you're good to go. And I know some people say, well, I didn't file back then, and back then. They're looking at 2019, 2018, around that time frame. So as long as you're filing in one of those years, you should pretty much be good to go. Another question we saw with the last bill is, are veterans going to be receiving checks? The answer with this bill is yes. Veterans are in there as long as you're paying taxes, you're good to go. So here's a weird question that I've been seeing a lot on my other video posts. What if I'm a US citizen, but I'm living somewhere else? I'm living out of the country. Am I eligible for a check? Yes, you are also eligible for a check. With this new CARES Act bill, you're also eligible. Even if you're living abroad, you're an American citizen. If you're a tax-paying citizen, then yes, you'll also be receiving a check. So this was a big debate on the last video I did about this. Before the bill was passed, one big question that a lot of people had was, it wasn't even a question as much as it was people accusing the government of what they were going to do if we took their dirty money. A lot of people were saying, oh, they're going to want that money back in some way or another. You're going to have to pay taxes on that money. This, that, and everything. People were just going at it about, what do we have to do for this money? Will we have to sell our souls for this money? Are we going to have to pay taxes? They're going to take it right back. Well, with that question, do you have to pay taxes on this money? The answer is no. According to the New York Times, this money, we won't have to pay taxes on it at all. Now, I have the full document and all of the articles from the bill. So if you want to read the entire bill, which is several pages long, but if you want to read through it and go through all of the fine print, I'll also have this entire bill linked below if you want to search through it and find this information out for yourself. But yes, according to the New York Times, they've done that digging for us. With this bill, we will not have to pay taxes on the money that we receive. Now, with this new bill, if you're unemployed right now and you were employed before, if you're unemployed right now, great news. This bill is really going to take care of you. Not only will you be receiving the money, the $1,200 from the stimulus package, but you'll also be receiving unemployment benefits that are pretty amazing. I'll link them all below. I know you guys just want the raw facts about this stuff, so I'm not going to linger on any one subject, but the unemployment benefits are going to be amazing. This bill really looked out for unemployed Americans, and I'm really proud of the way this turned out. So not only will you be receiving that part of the stimulus package, but you will also be receiving more payouts for unemployment, and that money is coming soon. So let's talk about student loans. I know this part is not as exciting as knowing that you're going to get $1,200, but let's face it, if you have student loans, that's a burden, and you want to know, like, what's going to happen with my student loans? You don't want to get your stimulus check and then you have to start paying student loans. There's great news on that front. Guess what, guys? They are suspending payments for 6 months. Now, I know in the grand scheme of things, 6 months doesn't seem huge, but when you have substantial student loans, 6 months is a long time. So to be able to get that suspension for 6 months, this is different from a forbearance or anything like that. They're suspending it for 6 months, and likely there's going to be nothing that you have to do to get this in motion. It's just being suspended. You don't have to expect to receive calls about this or anything. 6 months suspension. So you remember with the first bill proposal, it was like, if you make $75,000 or more, there is no way you're eligible for any money. It was like, forget about it. If you make $75,000 or more, there was no way you were going to get a check. Well, now with this new bill, it's looking out for Americans that make $75,000 or more. It's looking out for you too. So if you make $75,000 or more, you're still eligible. This is important because a lot of people who were making that money and did file before, they may be out of work now. So to see some relief for all Americans is major. Just understand this. Once you get to that mark where you make $75,000 or more, they start to deduct what you're eligible for. And pretty soon it just phases out completely for people who make more and more and more. The more you make, the less you're eligible for it, and it just goes up and up and up. But they're not saying, oh, you don't get anything. They're just letting you know, we're going to keep taking money off for everything that you make. And that's a nicer way of saying it, rather than saying, oh, you're an American but you don't qualify. So this really works out. So now if you make $75,000 or more, you're still eligible, just not for very much. For those that make under $75,000, if you're a taxpayer, that $1,200, that belongs to you. That's it. It's final. $1,200 per individual and $2,400 per couple filing jointly, and $500 per child that's eligible to receive a child tax credit. So another big question is, how will I get my check? How will this check be sent? What's happening? How long will it take? Guys, this part is very, very important. Now, I'll answer that how long will it take question first. Checks are expected to go out in about 3 weeks, so hold tight for about 3 weeks, and then you can start to expect to receive that money, or at least we'll be getting more information about it in upcoming days. So just hold tight and know that it's not coming tomorrow, but it's definitely on the way. Now, how will you receive the check? This part is very, very important because scams are going to be everywhere. Scams are going to be coming out left and right. People are going to be calling you on the phone, offering you things saying, sign up, you need to give us your information to receive this money. Guys, that is false. Checks will be going out in a direct deposit based on whatever account or however you chose to receive your income tax check. However you receive your tax check, your tax credit, however you receive that, that's how your checks are going to be deposited into your account. If you already have that connection with the IRS, then they already have your information and they're going to deposit it that way. Now, if the government doesn't have the proper bank information for you, that's okay. They're going to mail you your check. Now, mailing the checks is going to take just a little bit longer, but whatever you just filed your taxes with, most people have already just filed their taxes. However you just filed your taxes, that's how you're going to receive your money. If you put down a bank account when you filed your taxes and that's how you got your tax check, that's how you're going to get this check. Don't fall for any phone scams with people calling you, asking you for information. It's not going down like that. They have way too much money to give out and they're not making phone calls like that. What they're doing is just depositing this money and getting it out to the American people as quickly as possible. So make sure if you just filed your taxes, that's where your money is coming. If you didn't, or you had it mailed to you, you had your taxes mailed to you, then that's how you're going to receive your check. Okay guys, so I hope I answered most of your most pressing questions, but the bottom line is your money is on the way. And if you need more answers, I'm going to link some news clips, video clips below so you can watch those, and it might shed some light on what's going on with this money if you need to hear it said over and over. I understand politics, the law, the government, it can be a little confusing at times, but hopefully I broke it down in a way that you can understand. Also, if you're a reader and you want to see news articles, click the links in the description box below. I'm going to link you to several trusted news sources. Alright, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. OCC gang, I'm out.